Good evening, it's March 8th, 2025, and we're on podcast number 479. It's Saturday. We're in Studio 6A with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. How are you doing today, Mr. Jeckovich?
Good, I'm very good.
You're looking well.
Yeah.
I see you got your beautiful green sweater that was a gift from Dublin, Ireland on.
Yeah.
The McGill.
From Ireland, isn't that something?
Yeah, McGill sent you that. It is so beautiful. I heard you had a special visitor today.
Oh, Amber?
Yeah.
Amber was pretty good. She wasn't sick or nothing. She was pretty good.
She's doing good
She says she
today.
could be here tomorrow all day.
Yeah, she loves to see you. Amber Nicole Jeckovich is Mr. John J. Jeckovich's great-granddaughter, and she comes to visit him quite often. What a wonderful and caring little girl. A nice person, heart of gold. A heart of gold. Mr. Jeckovich, when you wrote your book, did you use Google?
Google?
Yeah. How did you get your information for your book?
In my head.
And you had research from other books you read?
No. I just remember what I did 10 years ago or something.
You wrote the book about 3 decades ago, and did you handwrite it first?
The what?
Did you handwrite it on a yellow tablet?
I scribbled all over the scratch paper and everything else.
Well, that's interesting. And how many pages was it?
849.
That's a monster of a book.
I scribbled as hard as I could. I'm just writing and thinking at the same time.
So you didn't use Google?
No.
You didn't use any internet for information?
No.
So Mr. Jeckovich has been collecting information for the last 85 or 90 years. When he was a little boy, he was on, the Book of the Month Club?
Yeah.
And you still remember that information?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the old school way of gathering information, is by reading, right?
That's it. I was a good reader.
So you didn't basically go on the computer, which you never had or used, and you didn't say Google this and Google that.
No.
You basically researched it yourself.
Just my memory.
And did you use a dictionary quite often?
What?
Did you use a dictionary quite often? A dictionary?
For the spelling, yeah.
Did you use an Encyclopedia Britannica?
No.
Okay.
Just the spelling.
That's an interesting. Are you working on your second book?
Second book, yeah.
How many chapters you got started of that?
I'm still on notes.
Yeah, I see. Speaking of notes, I was looking at Mr. Jeckovich's notes. They go back 90 years. Here's something interesting that was important then, and it's important now. Because we're in the Lenten season, it's interesting to find out about how Catholics don't eat fish. Don't eat meat during most of the days in Lent. And listen, this is a very interesting note here. In the early 1960s, the owner of a McDonald's in Cincinnati, Ohio, had a big problem. Lou Green, whose restaurant was in a Catholic neighborhood, noticed that the sales dropped every Friday because many of his customers didn't eat meat that day. That was Catholics don't eat meat on Friday, right?
Yeah.
And so he found a solution, and he served fish sandwiches. Now here's how it comes out. This is 1960. Wow, long time ago. 65 years ago. And trying kinds of different fish, he found out that breaded cod patty worked best. He added the American cheese, tartar sauce, and put it on a steamed bun. Confident in his new sandwich, Green convinced executives at McDonald's to test it out. Just keep in mind, he was one franchise. He wasn't no more than that. Meanwhile, McDonald's founder, Ray Kroc, had his own idea for the sales being so low on Friday because the Catholics weren't eating meat. And Ray Kroc called it the hula burger. It's consisted of a slice of pineapple with cheese on a bun. Doesn't sound good, does it sound good to you? And that's what Ray Kroc, the founder, thought would take the place of meat on Fridays. So a slice of pineapple with cheese on a bun. So here's how it played out. They decided to sell both sandwiches on Friday to see which one came out on top. The fish sandwich was a clear winner by a margin of 350 to 6. So here's the best part. In 1965, McDonald's executives added the Filet-O-Fish. You still have Filet-O-Fish sandwiches yourself at McDonald's, right? And that's 1965. Wow. 60 years later, 2 menus nationwide, so they went nationwide. It was the first item added to the original menu and quickly became popular with customers. So all the years McDonald's was around, this was the first item that was ever added to the menu, especially during Lent, which we're in now. By some estimates, McDonald's currently sells 300 million plus fish sandwiches a year.
Oh boy.
So that's what you call winner fish dinner. So these are kind of notes that Mr. Jeckovich would take for any type of information. He would read them, put them down. He's not going on the internet and Googling. You never Googled in your life, right?
No.
So all these 849 pages you got from your own head.
Yeah.
And your own research. That's interesting. That's interesting. I'm going to read a couple pages of your book, then we'll go to the questions, Mr. Jeckovich. In order to open up your book, I'll need your dog tag number.
42965.
Okay, that dog tag number is the password for the laptop, so here we go. Let's see where we left off the other day. For instance, there was a fabrication section which did the complete layout and installation of huge dust collecting systems for various industries surrounding our city. There were also a heating and air distribution section, which was mainly converting coal-fired furnaces to oil. So that was a great big thing 70 years ago, converting your coal-fired furnaces to oil.
Yeah.
And what'd you use, Can Lake oil?
Can Lake, yeah.
They would also install related ductwork associated with this type of system. What was the name of this shop that I'm describing? What shop were you working at?
Croydale.
Okay. Also located in this little shop was a gutter and downspout business section. Boy, they must have did a tremendous business.
What?
Croydale's must have did a tremendous business.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. He didn't do it, my uncle did. That didn't do nothing. He just shot his big mouth off, and that's it. My uncle did all the work there.
So your Uncle Andy.
He did the drawings out, he did this. He went out on the jobs, installed them and everything.
So what was the owner like?
That was Croydale was the owner.
Was he a nice guy?
Yeah, big mouth, that's all.
Okay. Also located in this little shop was a gutter and downspout section. This is very interesting, which naturally did the construction and installation of gutters and downspouts, mostly for commercial and residential work. There were other specialty tasks the shop performed, but they mostly of an overlapping nature. All in all, there are about 10 to 15 regular employees in this shop, which have been in existence for 35 to 40 years. That's a very long time to be in business.
Right on 27th Street, yeah.
Right in a residential area.
Yeah.
I wonder what's there now.
Probably that's buildings there, but he had a regular shop with it. He was welding and everything else in
Could you
there.
imagine right now if you tried to put a business in a residential neighborhood?
You couldn't do
You
it.
couldn't do it. Okay, here it goes. This is what you said. The owner was a short, robust, cigar-chewing German.
That's
German. Did he live in Germany during World War II?
Who?
He said the owner was a short, robust, cigar-chewing German.
Yeah.
Was he in Germany during World War II?
I don't know. I don't think so. He missed it because he was 80 years old when I saw him.
By the name of Charles Croydale.
Yeah, that was him.
His brother Art also worked there as
he's a truck driver.
Yeah. His brother Art also worked there as a truck driver and a general parts man. Charlie knew nothing about designing or installing ductwork, other than the sundry facets of the business. But he did have the outside contacts to bring new business, and over the years had built a reputation as a reliable sheet metal shop owner. Did he live on Livingston Avenue also? Did he live around there?
Oh.
The Croydales, did they live around there?
No, I lived up in DeVoe.
Okay, so he had a good business enough
yeah.
to afford an expensive house.
Yeah.
I wonder if they were immigrants.
They were?
I wonder if they were where they were.
Oh, yeah. Their father and mother were probably immigrants, yeah.
Yeah. Was he much older than you?
Clydesdale?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was only 18 years old.
So how old was he about?
About 70.
He was way up there, yeah. Let's see. But he did have the outside contacts to bring in new business, and over the years had built a reputation as a reliable sheet metal shop owner.
Yeah, but see, he was the one that got the business, but my uncle was the one that reciprocated and did the work.
Did your
And
uncle?
he set out the drawings, set out the plans and everything.
So without your uncle, they wouldn't have had nothing.
Yeah, my uncle was the top dog there, but Clydesdale was the one that shut his mouth and got the people in.
Did your Uncle Andy get paid well?
I don't know.
Okay. It was only through the men that he had employed, and his reputation was a reality, and his business a striking success.
Well, he had the reputation because of my uncle, Uncle Andy.
Well, I guess he was a smart enough guy to hire people like your uncle,
Yeah.
and not some floozy. I started there as a sheet metal helper at a rate of pay that I never achieved before this time. So your mother was very happy you're working there.
Yeah, I was getting $97 an hour, 97 cents an hour.
My mother was overwhelmed, and that at the rate of pay that I never achieved before this time. My mother was overwhelmed, and she would say, "Finally, you made something of yourself."
No, that job I was going every shitty factory in Buffalo and Niagara Falls. Great carbide, I come over, be all black. I couldn't get it off my skin. I was up at the mountain, up at the hill, up at the rafters and everything else.
I know there's still a lot of people working at carbide.
Yeah.
And you'll see them wherever they go, they're black from top to bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't get it off. Let's see what else you say here. My mother was overwhelmed, and she would say, "I finally made something out of myself."
No, I didn't do it. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do
Well,
it.
it's right here in your words. This is what your mother said. You didn't say it. Your mother said you made something out of yourself. And I should never leave that job, your mother said. I did not.
That's why I went to Kimberly Clark.
Well, you went to the service.
And when I come back to the service, I decided I'm not going to go back to him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go back to Clydesdale.
Yeah.
That's a shit job. That was a shit job.
I did not think it was such a great job, but to pacify my mother, I did not look further for gainful employment. Charlie would schedule me, that's the owner, right? Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie would schedule me first with one specialty group and then a week or two with another. I never got scheduled with the industrial section until I had been there for several months.
Then I started working with my uncle.
Yeah. My first assignment was with Louis. Do you remember Louis?
Oh, yeah. He was the gutter guy.
Gutter guy? With Louis, the gutter guy. God,
That's the guy who went over the hill. He was on a scaffold. I went over his head and it was in the snow. I fell off the roof.
Is that the one you were on the second story?
I was up on the roof and I slid off the roof and he was on a scaffold. I went over his head.
Oh my God.
And he said, "Get your ass up and get back up there. Quit screwing around."
So Louis was a gutter guy, and during the middle of winter, you were on second story, you slipped,
Yeah.
and you flew right over Louis' head, who was working on the first floor, and you
No, he was on a
scaffold.
Yeah.
And then you hit the snow hard, right?
I was lucky I wasn't in a snowbank.
And when Louis come run down there and help you,
No.
what do you
He
do?
just said, "Get your ass up there. Quit screwing around."
Oh God. What a different times. Holy shit. So he didn't run down there and help you, he just said, "Get your ass up."
Yeah. He didn't move. He didn't move.
Wow.
I'm lucky I didn't hit him.
Yeah, then you both would have went hard. Let's see, where was I here? Okay, 1 second. Oh, Louis was the gutter guy. My first assignment was with Louis, the gutter man. Louis would show me how to build a charcoal fire in a small portable stove. They heat up the large irons that solder the various connections on the gutters and downspouts.
Yeah.
Is that how they still do it today?
No, because that's all electric now.
Okay. Soldering the large commercial gutters required, so you had to make a fire. to do the soldering back then, right?
Yeah, but it was in the cold winter time too.
Required a considerable amount of patience and skill. So today, gunners are pretty simple
Yeah,
compared to what you had to
they
do.
snapped together.
You had to build up a fire wall
Yeah.
during a snowstorm. Okay, who's Bach?
Bach?
Bach, B-O-C-K.
Bach, I think, was Croy's, let's see, was his son.
Okay, Bach.
He worked in the office. He didn't do anything but stay in the office.
Well, maybe I mispronounced it. Bach was a furnace man who did mainly residential hot air
No,
furnaces.
that wasn't.
I learned how to bend sheet metal in square and round ducts. Then they reinforced it with a band of metal to keep it rigid and secure. So you learned a hell of a lot of trades there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Most of these tasks took us out of shop environment and into the establishments where the end product was installed. So he basically made it at the location where you're working and then installed it.
Well, my uncle was responsible for it. Yeah.
There was considerable preparatory work involved before the final results could be achieved. The inside shop became routine after a while, and time would drag on as compared to the outside work. When we were out of the shop on a job, there were only one or two people working together. There was not the constant supervision and business-like attitude so prevalent back at the shop. Many times we'd go a week or two without going into the shop at all. So you didn't go into the shop, how did you know where your job was?
Well, my uncle put all the stuff in the back seat. Had a green Plymouth. The back seat was full of tools and everything else.
Was that a car?
It was a car, yeah, Plymouth.
Oh,
Green
wow.
Plymouth.
And that's how he showed up to the jobs, right?
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
That's how he picked me up too.
Right at your mother's house, right?
Yeah. They didn't talk though.
Did your mother and your Uncle Andy ever talk at the end?
Well, they talked for a while, but no, they were always feuding.
Even to death, even in death, they never say goodbye, right?
Yeah, they didn't swear and curse. They just argue back and forth.
Yeah. Wow. Who do you think started the arguing?
Huh?
Who do you think started it?
My mother.
Yeah. So Andy was basically an easy guy?
Yeah.
Andy was basically an easy to get along
Oh
with?
yeah. Who, my uncle?
Yeah.
Well, no, he got him riled up. He had a temper, but he's real easygoing. He's always smiling. And you said something, he agreed with it. But he took me on the arm and he said, "Look," he said, "I want Johnny to work with me. I don't want nobody else."
That's beautiful.
When he told me something to do, I did it.
Yeah, sure you did. I'm sure you did, I know. How old was Uncle Andy when he died?
Probably 89.
89? So
I can remember him sitting on the creek, the creek.
describe that to me. I don't know what you mean.
I looked at him. I said, "I got to go sit with him." And I said, "No, I don't want to go today." And after he passed away, day later, I felt sorry for myself. He was sitting at a creek with his hands up like this.
Lonely.
On the grass in front of the creek.
Lonely, right?
It was lonely, yeah.
Lonely. And he died the next day?
2 days later, yeah.
Wow.
Well, he was retired probably then. He couldn't. Too old. He couldn't get up on ladders anymore.
But listen, if he had to walk to the creek, that was a pretty big task.
No, from where he was at.
Yeah, that's still a pretty good task.
Well, he lived on Eli Avenue.
Yeah, I know.
He had to cross that little wooden bridge.
A little bridge, but still, that's a lot of walking for an old man.
Yeah.
So he must have been in good shape. I wonder how he died.
Probably a heart attack or something. 89 years old.
Yeah.
He's a good worker, good guy. I liked him. He liked me too.
So he taught you a lot.
Huh?
He taught you a lot. He taught you a
Oh
lot.
yeah.
About the third month here, I was assigned to the industrial section. Heading up this section was my Uncle Andy. There he is.
Yeah.
So there was Uncle Andy, Uncle Johnny,
Uncle Johnny didn't work there.
but I'm just trying to think. There was Uncle Andy, Uncle Johnny, and your mother. Was there any more children?
Yeah, and Sophie.
Was she a sister of your mother?
Yeah.
She was
and
a
Sophie, yeah.
So, your mother, Sophie, Uncle Andy, and Uncle Johnny. Was there any more?
I think there was another daughter or something in there.
But they're your mother's sister and brothers, right?
Yeah, that's all relations.
Who was the oldest out of the bunch?
Probably Sophie.
Sophie?
Yeah.
And then who would be next?
I would say my mother.
And then Andy?
Andy's up there, yeah.
And then Johnny?
Johnny was probably a year or 2 years younger.
What finally happened to him?
Uncle Johnny? He was a motorcycle guy, and he got hit with a car, got killed.
Where did that happen?
On Orleans, on Royal Avenue.
That was it?
That was it.
How old was he then?
About 75.
I wonder why he was driving a motorcycle.
He was driving that motorcycle all the time.
Was it a big motorcycle?
Yeah, it was a Harley.
No kidding.
He loved that motorcycle.
Did he ever come to see your mother driving it?
No, my mother?
No, did Uncle Johnny ever drive to your mother's house with it?
No.
No?
If he saw my truck in the back, he would come, but if my truck wasn't back there, he didn't come.
I'll be damned. I'll be damned. That's strange. So who went first, Andy or Johnny?
Who
Who
went
died first, Andy or Johnny?
Uncle Andy.
Okay. Okay. Let's see where I was. My Uncle Andy had seen me about the shop for the past several months, but he did not acknowledge my presence. Neither of my parents had spoken to Uncle Andy for several years. Oh my God. So your father never talked to Uncle Andy?
No, my father never talked to him, no.
Why didn't your father like him, you think?
Huh?
Why didn't your father like him?
Well, Andy had personality. He didn't like you, he didn't like you.
But how about your father?
Well, I guess he didn't like my father.
So they never got along?
No.
Right from day one?
No.
I'll be damned. One night I told my mother that I was working with Uncle Andy, and our only remark she made was not to tell him any of our business. What the hell?
Yeah, they were always feuding.
What the hell?
They were always feuding.
She should be happy her son's working with a good man. Instead of just congratulating you, she says, don't tell him any of my business.
Yeah.
Like, what could you have told him?
Yeah.
Wow, you're right. They were feuding like hell. Wow. And over nothing, right?
Yeah.
Over nothing.
No, pissy. Yeah, pissy. Well, when she got in the jam, she called him, and the guy couldn't fix a gutter in a quarter. And she finally called him. He came over there in 10 minutes. He had it fixed.
No kidding.
Yeah, put a ladder.
Everyone else good. What'd your father say about that?
My father?
Yeah, when Uncle Andy came.
He didn't say a word. I don't think my mother told him.
I'll be damned. Wow. So this is like fighting over absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's the way it was all the
Do you think
time.
it's in the Jeckovich traits that they all fight?
Yeah, that's it.
Every one of them fight, probably today, right?
Yeah.
I'll be damned. So it's something in the blood.
Huh?
It's something in the blood that they're all fighters.
6 minutes.
This is interesting.
Well, they were brought up that way too.
The fight.
Yeah, their parents probably fighting all the time
Fight like
too.
hell.
Yeah.
That's not right. Okay.
But when I worked with Uncle Eddie, he was real calm and cool and everything.
Right.
But that was a good work. He did something. I don't think I made too many mistakes with him.
Oh, I'm sure you were a good worker.
And then when I went into service, he wanted me back, and he got upset because I wasn't that stupid criminal clerk.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I'm not going back there. I got shitted up, I got mussed up, I got gassed up and everything else.
Yeah. Neither of my parents had spoken to my uncle for several years, even though they lived a short distance apart from one another. He was right across the street.
Yeah, on Needle Avenue and Orleans Avenue. You take that little bridge, you're there.
You're right there. I never knew what the rift was between my uncle and my parents was about, but knowing my parents, I could well understand the situation. One night I told my mother I was working with Uncle Andy, and the only remark she made was not to tell him any of our business. What the hell could you tell him? What would you know?
Well, he could see where you living and everything else.
What's there to say? Did Uncle Andy have a nice house?
No, he had an older house, but they fixed it up real good.
It was very clean?
the basement was immaculate.
Yeah.
Everything. He's a real clean guy.
So he spent all his time in the basement?
I think they ate downstairs.
And they had a kitchen?
Polacks that used to eat downstairs.
Polish people are used to eating in the basement?
Yeah, in the basement, but that basement was clean.
Did they cook in the basement too?
Oh yeah, they had a stove in there and everything.
Did they have a kitchen upstairs?
Yeah.
But I didn't know this, let me understand this. So it's a Polish custom to eat in the basement.
Well, I mean, it's not a custom, but my uncle did it all the time.
Did you eat in the basement?
With him, yeah. Well, he fixed it up. I ate
What, do you have a
there.
nice kitchen table down there? And
Oh yeah, everything was clean.
At your house, did you and your mother eat in the basement?
And at our house?
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
Our basement was screwed up.
So your basement wasn't remodeled?
No.
Didn't you remodel someone's basement? Your sister's basement? Did you remodel Sally's basement?
Yeah, I remodeled hers, and I remodeled her closets and everything else. And I'm under the Millie's closets too.
Uh-huh. But didn't you, when you remodeled your sister's basement, Sally, didn't your wife fall down the stairs?
Yeah, there was a winter time, and she had those boots on, and she made 2 steps. She fell all the way down the stairs. I thought she ruptured her hip or something.
Was she injured?
No.
Did your sister's husband, Charlie, did he work with you in the basement? Did he help you when you?
No, he was a cigar smoking cavalier.
Did he smoke cigars in the house?
No.
In his own house?
Yeah, but he wasn't very handy. He wasn't very handy.
What did he do for a
He
living?
worked in the office someplace.
I see. So he had a suit and tie job?
Huh?
3 minutes.
How many?
3.
He had a suit and tie job?
No, he didn't have a suit and tie job, but he didn't actually work in the office, but he worked in Pittsburgh plate glass, Pittsburgh steel or something. And he
Okay.
worked in the mill. He worked in the mill.
Okay. When we both felt apprehensive and uncomfortable the first day, but after that we got along just fine. I marveled at his experience and skill in assembling any intricate pieces of large sheet metal ducts weighing hundreds of pounds, so they were heavy,
Yeah.
and installing them at heights 30 to 50 feet in anything but ideal working conditions.
See, I didn't have much to do with Uncle Johnny.
No,
See, Uncle Johnny was a different character.
he wasn't friendly.
He would smile and give you a talk and that, but I can't think of what he did.
I thought he worked at Kimberly-Clark.
No, he worked in the other mill as a millwright. Yeah, he was a millwright.
After several weeks of changing sections, the case, Charlie informed me that I'd be working steady with Uncle Andy. I later found out that Uncle Andy had requested me permanently.
Yeah.
Just like you said. I learned a lot working with my uncle and was constantly amazed at the skill he displayed doing his work. While working with him, I found out to my surprise he had only gone to the 3rd grade. He could do intricate mathematical layouts in the shop and then take the same fabrication and install them on a job site.
Yeah, he did everything, yeah.
Where did he go to school at? Was it in Russia?
3rd grade, he went probably Sugar Street School.
So he went to school in Niagara Falls?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I thought he might have went to school in the old country.
No, he went to school. They migrated here when they were young, and he went to school in Sugar Street.
On several occasions, he would drop me off from work at his home, and I would then walk from there. At times, he would invite me in, and I would meet with Aunt Sophie, enjoy a piece of lemon rain pie,
Oh, yeah,
and a cup of coffee.
She was a good cook, boy. She was a good cook, yeah.
They were very cordial and pleasant. Wow, that's amazing. What history, huh?
Yeah.
What history. So he was a good one to work with.
Huh?
He was a good one to work with.
Yeah.
Wow. 3rd grade education, he could do all his mathematical problems.
Huh?
3rd grade education, he was capable of doing great.
He was doing all the symmetry layouts and everything else.
30 seconds.
Wow.
He lay it out in the shop and take it back to the job, put it up.
So he was the #1 man at Croydon.
Oh, yeah, Cross depended on him, yeah.
Wow. He retired from Croydon's?
Oh, yeah, he retired from Cross, yeah.
I wonder how many years he worked there.
I bet he worked there 20 years
No kidding.
or longer. I think when he got out of school at age 15 or 16, he went right in.